Hello friends, welcome back. In last 2-3 videos, we people have seen objectives of business communication, and one more point we have seen in last video, that was features or characteristics of business communication. In this video, we are going to talk about process of communication. As I told you, communication process, as we people have seen in features or characteristics of business communication, the last feature was, I still remember, that was continuous process. So there we people have understood communication is a process. So that process we are going to discuss in this video, and the title of today's topic is process of communication. Friends, as I told you, if you want to complete the process of communication, there is certain step steps to be complete to complete the process of communication. If you want to start the process of communication, there are certain requirements. What are the requirements? Certain requirements are like this: there should be at least two parties. It means if you want to start the process of communication, at least two persons are required, two parties are required to communicate between each other. And one more requirement that is there, and that requirement is there should be a channel, and without the channel, the process of communication cannot be over. So here in this process of communication, the process of communication in a detailed manner, how the process of communication starts and how the process of communication ends. So here and when it can be called as the process of communication is over and the process of communication is ended, that we are going to say in this process of communication. Whenever you want to start the process of communication, there should be a source. So there may be a question in the mind of you guys, what is source? Source is nothing but what? Source is nothing but a sender. The person who wants to give a message is called as what? A source. Or the person who wants to give a message is called as sender. So this is what at the beginning only I told you, there are two parties which are involved in the process of communication, and these two parties are, one is sender and another one is receiver. So without these two parties, the process of communication is not at all possible. The first party, who is a sender, is also called as source. That particular person, source or the person, has to draft one message if he wants to start the process of communication. Okay, so message, after the sender there should be a message that you can find out, that you can see here, that message should be there. So he has to think about the message that he wants to give to the receiver. So that message should be there in the mind of that particular person, and that can be called as source in the mind of a sender. Then whatever process is that of drafting the message or writing the message from the sender's side, that particular process of writing the message in a detailed and right manner that sender will do for the receiver is called as what? Encoding process. Friends, let me tell you the process of encoding. Encoding means what? The message which is drafted, which is written by the sender for the purpose of sending to the receiver is called as what? Encoding. So the way he writes, the way he types the message is called as what? Encoding. After encoding the message, if he wants to give that message to the receiver, he has to select one channel for giving the message. Channel is nothing but what? Channel is nothing but a way of giving the message. It may be different, it may be differ from process to process and message to message. Basically, there are different types of channels which are available as far as communication is concerned, that we are going to see in the next topic, that is types and channels of communication. There are different types of channels. Sometimes channel means what? The media that you are using for the purpose of sending the message. For example, in brief or in short, channel is nothing but what? The way you are sending your message. Sometimes we use send our message by telephone. Sometimes we send our message by post office. So oral channels are there, then written channels are there, upward channels are there, downward channels are there. So channel may differ from person to person, and the messages also, and the need of the requirement also. So accordingly channel is selected. So another way is channel. Then through that channel, message is given to the receiver. whenever that receiver will receive the message, he will start understanding the message. Okay, listen, what is the process? First of all, source or sender has to write one message. That writing message or drafting message process is called as what? Encoding. Then he has to select one channel for the purpose of sending the message to the receiver. Once the message is received by the receiver, he has to understand the message, and whenever he will understand the message, the process of understanding is called as decoding. Okay, getting my point? So see, whenever he will understand the message by applying some logic, that process of applying the logic to understand the message is called as decoding. So see, understand this, encoding is there with the sender and decoding is there with the receiver. So receiver has to apply some knowledge to understand the message, is called as what? Decoding process. Once the decoding is done, he will understand the message, and whenever receiver will understand the message, he will react on the message. He will react on the message, and whatever is the reaction that will be given from the receiver side to the sender side, that is called as what? Feedback. And whenever feedback is given, the process of communication will be over. So friends, once again I repeat how the process of communication is taken place. This is a way, this is a diagram which is very useful for you guys and helpful for you guys to understand the process of communication. So see, as I told you, there are two parties which are always involved in the process of communication, and those two parties are sender and receiver. Then sender has to create one message, and that can be called as what? Source. Whatever process he is doing for drafting the message or typing the message is called as what? Encoding. After the encoding of message, sender has to select one channel for sending the message. Once the message is received with the receiver, receiver has to apply some logic to understand the message. That particular process is called as decoding. Once the message is decoded and understood by the receiver, he has to react. He has to give his response to the sender about the message, whether it is yes or no. See, and that particular things can be called as what? Feedback. Feedback may be negative, feedback may be positive, but it should be given. And whenever feedback is given and whenever sender will receive the feedback, then only the process of communication is over. So friend, this one is the process of communication which we have seen in a thorough manner. So what we people have to understand? We people have to understand the process of communication like this. There are two parties, sender and receiver. There are two processes, encoding and decoding. Encoding means what? Writing the message. Decoding means what? Understanding the message by applying some logic. Then there should be a channel. Channel should be there to send the message or to dispatch the message. Then after receiving the message, he has to give, or that receiver has to apply some logic and react to the message. That reaction is called as what? Feedback. Feedback may be negative or positive, but it should be given, and then only the process of communication will be over, otherwise not. Whenever feedback is given, then only the process of communication is over. If feedback is not given, we cannot say the process of communication is over. So this is a process of communication which we have seen thoroughly in this video. I hope you people have understood the process of communication in a thorough manner. If doubts are there, ask me your doubts by using online platform. Till then, stay tuned, stay connected through this online platform. Thank you very much. Bye bye.